Hi, Deadlock's here again, and you may know that these Chubb battleships and these Chubb cruisers have a lever in that looks a little bit like this. It's called a monitor lever, and this is also a monitor lever. Today we're going to look at why they exist and how they work. So I think the reason that they exist may have something to do with a quote I found from John Chubb. Some people, it is true, expect perfect impossibilities and imagine that having obtained a secure lock, they have done all that is necessary. This is a great mistake. No lock whatsoever will guard against the culpable negligence with regard to its key, or the treachery of supposed trustworthy servants. So I believe it was partially in the spirit of what that quote is saying that this kind of lever exists, because what it actually does is quite clever. Now those of you who pick lever locks will know that the key has two parts essentially. You have these jaggedy up and down bits, that is to lift the levers to the correct height. You have this bit at the end, that is to throw the bolt. Now, if you have a tensioner, this is what I use for these battleships, that isn't quite tall enough, if we can get some focus here, isn't quite tall enough, it does not throw the bolt all the way. Now, as a picker, it's irritating because you pick the lock and then the bolt still doesn't open. But it has another point. If through wear this part of the key has worn down a bit, or if someone's managed to get a hold of your key and file that bit down, the bolt no longer throws all the way when you lock your lock. So what this can cause is a lock that appears to be completely locked, but because the bolt's halfway thrown, can be opened incredibly easily. So Chubb decided, since somebody could get a hold of the key, like one of those nefarious servants, and file off a little bit of that throw, they had to do something. So because of this, the monitor lever was made by the Chubb & Sons Lock and Safe Company and a guy called Percy William Start, which I assume is a guy who worked for Chubb & Sons at the time. Well, they both work in two slightly different ways, but they both do the same thing. So this one is actually out of this 6-lever safe lock, which I'm going to attempt to put together in a way to demonstrate. So this is how the monitor lever works. As you can see there, the bolt is half thrown through the levers. So all the levers are already at the correct height and the bolt can move in either direction relatively freely. In this situation, that bit happened because someone's filed down the bolt throw. The key would now lock the lock to that point and turn until it hits the monitor lever, at which point it can't go any further. So the key will be trapped inside the lock, and the owner of the lock will know something's not right. If you happen to have a lock that is static like this one that you can't bash the lock across like this one, all you need at this point is a piece of wire to stick in the keyway, and it's a bit hard without the keyway to push against, but there we go. It's that easy to knock the lock off. Now this one works the same principle for the same reasons, but it's from a much fancier looking safe lock. Now I can't get this one to do the same thing, hopefully you can see here. If you put the key in the lock, you would turn this way to unlock the safe. Lift all the levers up. So once you're round there, the keyway would be this way around. So you're going to have to turn the key all the way back to there to remove it. But if the monitor lever is stuck in the unlocked position, you can't turn the key round. And again, that would happen. This part, well, actually, the bolt's in a strange place with this one, so I think it's that part there is being filed down a little bit. So yeah, even though this looks quite unfamiliar, just like the monitor levers that we're used to, this is actually a monitor lever. I'm actually going to add to the end of this video, these two, weirdly enough, do not have monitor levers in them. Most Chubb cruisers and Chubb battleships do. The thing I've been noticing is it seems to be the relatively new ones. This one's from 1992 and appears to be the new ones that are quite often missing the monitor lever. You know, it's because that square peg means this is new style Chubb cruiser, and I don't think any of my new style Chubb cruisers has a monitor lever. And this is my one and only new style Chubb battleship, and that doesn't have a monitor lever. So I'm wondering if the missing monitor levers has something to do with cost cutting at some point later in Chubb's history. Anyway, that's all from us. See you next time. The plan is we're going to lock the hasp. It shouldn't be called a hasp, so let's call it a Terry. So we're going to lock Terry, and we're going to lock it with the master number 3.
I think it should be called Henry. Henry the hinge lock.
It's a hasp.
It's hinge lock now.
Harry the hasp.
It's Harry the hinge lock. Of the sizes.